You got me? Can you hear me? All right, let's go. All right, so what we got going on today? Okay, y'all following this? We've got the 1989. Let me turn that fan down, man. It's hot in here. There we go. Turn the fan down to low so y'all can hear me. We got that 1989 Harley-Davidson 1200 Sportster that we're bringing back to life for customers, people I know, however you want to put it. We've got the original Kean carburetor. This is a little different than most of you Harley guys. That right now the 91 through 2003 Sportster is really popular. There's a lot of aftermarket stuff. Okay, those bikes came with a different carburetor. It's still a Kean, but they came with a carburetor like this. This is not a Kean. This is a Chinese reproduction of a Kean, but this is what would be on a modern, in other words, 91 through 2003 Harley-Davidson Sportster 883 and 1200. This is a CV carburetor. This is not. This is a little closer to a Harley-Davidson Super E carburetor. Note that there is no, see the difference in the two? Okay, number one, this guy just shoves into the boot, whereas this one actually has a little flange on the intake. And there is no diaphragm on the top. This one works directly off the cable. Opens this valve, shoom, gas goes in, air and gas. But anyways, this guy's pretty crusty. I do not have a rebuild kit. I'm waiting on what I need to bring that bike back to life. The folks will be another week or two before they can order all the parts that we need to do this. So I don't have a lot going on in the shop. And actually, I've been taking a little break here. I've been busting my butt in the last year. So there's a little time for me. Ride my own bikes, take a couple camping trips, and enjoy life, right? I've made some money here in the shop. I'm cool. I can take a break. But in the in-between, we still keep our feet moving forward. So we're going to clean the outside of this carburetor. We're going to disassemble it today. We're going to show you how this carburetor works. And while we're doing all that, we just might disassemble this. This is a brand new one just to show you how this style works. All depends on how things go. Let me grab a cup of coffee before I get started here, because I need my go-go juice. It's just that time of day. I'll be right back. Don't go nowhere. Get in there, you bastard. I really need to get like a better coffee cup down here. I grabbed an old one out of the house that like was never going to get used. I just leave it down here. So I still have like a freaking Christmas coffee cup from 1969 or something. It's one that I wouldn't get yelled at from the missus from leaving in the garage, you know. She works hard keeping the house and the kitchen clean. I try not to mess it up. So I took one of the oldest coffee cups so I wouldn't get yelled at for it. All right. We got the caffeine. Let's get some nicotine. I'm going to need a brush of some sort. I'm going to need a cleaning product of some sort. Let's see what we have here to use. Yep, we're not using that. That's a little too harsh. This should be just about right here to do the job that we're about to do. I'm going to need like a scrub brush type of deal. Yeah, a little unorthodox way of doing this. But considering we're going to take the carburetor apart, it'll be just fine. Okay. I try to teach you guys how to do these things in a manner anybody can do it as long as you have a little bit of a workspace to work in. Okay. So instead of dipping this in an ultrasonic tank, we're going to clean the outside by hand, then we're going to disassemble it and see what the inside looks like. I know we need a rebuild kit. I just know, but let's get the outside of it cleaned off first. Relatively unorthodox product to use on that. Yes, I am unashamedly using Super Clean. Okay. They send me stuff. It actually works good. I use it around the shop, and it works better than what I was using. So right on. I dig it. We're going to clean the outside of this in this little wash tub over here. Yes, I said wash. We're in Pittsburgh. If I can get you guys a good angle of that. The outside we're cleaned up. And then we're going to get to disassembling it here on the bench. Normally, water and carburetors don't mix. But I'm going to take this thing apart. And it's going to be flushed and everything else. So don't do this if you're not planning on taking your carburetor apart. Just regular old super clean. I mainly just want to get the crustiness off the outside of this. Get her soaked down for a minute and let her sit. The hell, we'll shoot a little down to the cherry too, because we are going to open this thing up. Now, in a live last week or so, I used the heavy duty degreaser, the foaming spray. That's aluminum. That heavy duty stuff, that's a little too strong for aluminum. It'll start eating stuff up. We don't want that. We're not going to use it here. But you see, we sprayed it. We got a dollar store toilet brush. Like I said, unorthodox way to do this, but when I do things, I want you guys to know that everything I do, you can do at home. I've been working on motorcycles all my life, man. And I know some of you guys who watch my stuff are just getting into working on bikes. And you watch some channels and they have all this fancy equipment and everything else, and it can be intimidating. I get it. Quite intimidating, man. I 100% get it. Well, most all of my life, I didn't have much on the way of equipment. I had some tools. I tore one bike down and put it all back together and fixed everything wrong with it. In the apartment, I had a little tiny one-bedroom apartment, like a studio almost. But the bedroom was sectioned. The bedroom and bathroom were sectioned off. It was tiny. And my living room was a roller toolbox, a couch that somebody gave me, and an old motorcycle, and a TV in the corner. Now, I tore that bike down, fixed it, put it all back together in that living room. Old school, the way the guys in the 60s and 70s did it. That's how I learned to work on these things, from guys from that era. We'll get mainly the heavy shit off the outside of this, and then we're going to lube her up with some PB Blaster penetrating oil and open it up, see what the inside looks like, see how bad it is in there. But ideally, you would want to, if you had one and the time and place to do it, you would want to just dip this in a ultrasonic tank and just walk away for a few hours. We're going to assume you don't got one of them, so we're going to do this instead. Holy crow, that actually worked really good. I'm going to reapply that. Check that out, dude. I mean, like, it even cleaned the scunge out of the Venturi here. I'm going to reapply it and scrub that a little heavier. There's still some stuff in there. I should have brought, I have up at the house, I use for cleaning my pew-pews. I have like dollar store toothbrushes in the pack. Using for gun cleaning. I should have grabbed one of them to do this with, but we have a dollar store brush down here for heavy cleaning stuff. This works good to get into like bike rims and stuff. Man, that actually did a really good job. Way better than I was expecting. I just wanted to get some of the grease and grime off the outside of it before I started working on it. And I'm pretty impressed. That worked really well for considering this is a product you normally would not use on a carburetor. Knowing that this carburetor has to come all the way apart and get rebuilt anyway, I'm not afraid to use it on this. Okay. Get you guys set up over here. You can see what I'm doing. Guess I could have doubled them up and stapled it that way, but I didn't, so we'll waste 2 extra staples. Not a big deal. There we go. Surgical precision. Not really, but we now got a clean place with no debris. This wooden tabletop, you can clean it all you want, you still end up with little bits and pieces. All right. Now, can you guys see this? Let's get you in here a little closer. Okay. Look at what we're looking at. We're still, let me blow this out one more time. Hold on. Someone's been in here. Promise you that. Look at that. Someone's been in here and they have boogered up the screws, and they had a rebuild kit at one time because that is not an original screw. Someone's definitely been in here. Okay. Cool. Knowing that, oh my goodness, look what they did here. Yeah. That is something that kind of gets under my skin. When you booger up bolts on something that I got to deal with, I tend to get a little persnickety. Not a big deal. We're going to handle that. So, first things first. Now, this came off a Harley-Davidson. But if you read right there, it's a Kian. This is a Japanese carburetor. Being it's Japanese, these are not Phillips screws. They're not. What they are JIS. They're Japanese industrial screws. If you're going to mess with a Japanese carburetor or Japanese anything, you are going to need those to ensure that you don't round out every freaking screw you touch and then bring it to me to fight with. Now you can see here, okay, every single one of these. So before we try to take this bowl off, what we're going to do, we're going to get the magic elixir. This is something that I've had for, oh Lordy, almost 30 years. You don't need much of it. When I got this, you couldn't buy it in stores. I got it from a machine shop where I worked at the time, many, many moons ago. We'll put a little bit on the top of each thread. You can now get arrow coil in a spray can, but like I said, when I got this can, you can see how old it is. When I got this, you literally couldn't buy this in stores. Couple little drops on every top hole here. Like that. That's all you're going to need. Let's see, what have we got to kind of prop this up against? I want it to sit like this while that does what it needs to do. Okay, JIS, got the screwdriver. We're going to need a pick or two. Get all my tools and accoutrement out. Get a rag to wipe my hands with. Do I have a baby impact? We just might need it. We might not. Where would you be if I had you in here? I don't know. I know I got a big boy impact, but I really don't feel like we need to use it. We got it. If we need it, we got it. We need a small persuader. I doubt we'll need it, but it's there if we do. I have a wee little tiny baby impact driver over here, somewhere in this mess. I mean, like literally, I just laid eyes on it the other day. I didn't need it, so I didn't move it. And there we go. We don't know where it is already. All right. Well, we'll see if we can get it apart without it. That should have had enough time to creep through and do its thing. Probably going to need the smallest JIS that we have. Here's a number one. What size is this? Yeah, this one here is kind of, you see that? This one here, she's kind of hammered. Look at that, came right loose. Let's get them all loose first. And then I'm going to go grab a magnetic tray to put our parts in. I promise you, if you would have touched that with a Phillips head, would not have come loose. You would have just fought, stripped it, brought it to me and said, fix it, Kev. But we soaked it in the best shit there is, Croil. Walked away for a minute, used the proper bit, and lo and behold, it just came right apart for us. that funny how that works when you do stuff right? And make a little room here. Okay. A little magnetic tray. We'll go ahead and clean it off. And you guys see what I'm doing? Okay. Back out a little. Right there. That should be good. All right. We're going to remove the bowl first. I want a little pair of needle nose too. Now, when you put this back together, you got to be kind of careful. You see, this is the accelerator pump rod. If you know these bikes, you know these carbs, you know what this is. If not, I'll explain it when it goes back together. And look at that. It had some rust in it. That doesn't look too bad. The gentleman, when he dropped the bike off, they had a guy they knew rebuild this carb. And I can show you already, I've showed you where he stripped the screws. But the bike got pushed up and just parked up for years and years after that. They had it running, found it had some problems, and it just got put on a back burner to the side. And when he pulled it back out, not very long ago, he went to turn the fuel on, and fuel just dumped out of the carburetor. You know, that is not bad. That's really not too bad. Float bowl, or float bowl ain't bad. The actual float has seen its better days, but that is not bad. Let me give this a little spray out with some air. All right, we're going to put a couple of drops of oil on this screw here. This is a little different setup. Now, you guys have seen me tear apart a CV40 carburetor. And as you know on them, the pin that holds your float, that just pushes through. You take your little pick like this, and you just gently push it through. This one actually has a little screw to take it out. Now, judging by what he did to some of these, and judging by this, that has seen a screwdriver at some point in its life, but it's not terribly torn up. So that's interesting. Did he replace this? I don't know. Let's find out. Okay, it wasn't overly tightened. What you do is, we're going to take it all the way out. We don't need to. Just take it loose like that. And, oh, it'll come on. I thought maybe I'd have to push it through with a pick. I'm going to take this pin out and put it in the bowl there so we don't lose it. Really, really gently try to work this guy off of here. As you can see, what's up with it, how it comes off here, and that's a goofy way of doing things, Ken. May have to get a little pick on it or I may have to actually pop this out, which we can do that as well. See, there's a little ring around there and you can pop that out. And then this little clip, a pair of tweezers would probably be a little better for doing this, but we can do it this way. Okay. Get that out. And what we're going to do is take this and put it right back where it goes. To ensure that it does not get lost. Okay. Now if you look on the outside of this, it don't look too good. You got varnish on it. Anything in here that will hang this up, anything in here that will stop this rubber seat from sealing. And if you look closely at it, I can see it. See how there's a little wear ridge right there? My fingernails are on it. That's all it'll take for fuel to leak past this. And this is rubber. And I could feel it. It's hardened. This is why I don't think your float is shot. We're going to show you how to test that in just a moment. And as well, let me grab a little flashlight and show you guys something else here. Might be hard for the camera to pick up on it. There's just a little bit of schmutz down in there, a little bit of dirt. Anything that will hold that open like that, it's going to cause that to piss fuel out of the overflow, which is over on the side here, which is basically what was happening. As well as your inlet. We're missing something here, Bob. If you're watching this, buddy, there's a little nipple that'll screw down in here for your inlet. Is it on the... No, it's not on the tank. I have a box of parts that came with it, but we're missing that part. I can maybe find one for it. This should just be an NPT thread. And here, this is just like a adapter flange for your air cleaner. This is no good. This being rusted like this has to be cleaned up. We will address that. I'm going to go ahead and work on getting this off. Let's put a little drop on the threads. You can tell these are really good people that brought me this bike because I'm breaking out all the good stuff on them. I'm going to set that like that. I normally, like this shit here, this is magic shit. I only use that on my bikes usually. All right, let's find a little wrench. Should be a 3/8, maybe 7/16. Try 7/16 first. I guessed right on the first try. Okay. And we got hex key, Allen key, whatever you want to call them today. We're going to need one of them. Let's grab the whole shebang here. It's good coffee. Are we a quarter? We are not. We are way smaller. Should be 5/30 seconds, maybe. Maybe not. No, smaller than 5/30 seconds. 3/16. Yep, 3/16. Okay, that's not going to work out like that, is it? Get you a wrench on there. Not so. They're going to more or less fight the whole way out. But that's okay. We're not going to take it all the way apart if we don't have to. I don't think you have to on this. Maybe you do. Let's get this side loosened up. Can you guys still see what I'm doing? Okay. 5 people watching and 5 likes. Right on, man. I appreciate the love, folks. It's highly appreciated. Okay. All this is just an adapter ring so that air cleaner can bolt onto the carburetor. It's important, but it's not that important. We're going to go ahead and set it off to the side. This is the fuel inlet. This right here would be for the choke cable. I'm looking at it closer, the enriching circuit. Which come out over here on the inside. So hopefully the bike still has that in place. If not, we'll have to make something work some kind of way, but it wouldn't be the first time we've had to do something like that. Oh no, we got it. It's right here. Cool, good deal. Yep, here it is. It was in a box of parts. Essentially, that's how the choke works on this. It's not a choke like when you think of an old-fashioned car where you've got a butterfly valve that stops air from coming in and allows fuel to get sucked straight from the bowl. And not how this works. In the listening circuit, when the butterfly valve, okay, you see this little teeny tiny hole right here? Okay, follow it on the outside of the carburetor. That little teeny tiny hole goes through this passage, and down here to this little hole. Up here in the top, you have this. It's a little stopper. Goes down in that hole like such. When this is pushed down, that little stopper, this guy right here, blocks this passageway right here. And see how it works from the outside? So the further you pull this up, the more it allows that vacuum to pull fuel straight from the float bowl through this passageway into here. So when the engine is cold, you're enriching up the circuit. This is how an enriching circuit works on this style carburetor. Okay, you got to inspect this. It's not worn very bad. I mean, you can see there are wear marks, but good deal, man. Good deal. What we got here? Someone's talking to me. Got to get out today, clean the contacts in my starter switch, push the starter, and it may not engage the starter. What's up? This is Jubbly Bits. Yeah, on the starter button, a lot of times you'll get a little bit of gorp in between there, rust, whatever you want to call it, corrosion. And yeah, sometimes you got to take that switch all apart and just clean it up with something a little bit, and solves that problem pretty good for you. All right, where were we? We need to ensure that all these passageways are clear. Okay, back to the lecture at hand. Perfection is perfection, and let them understand. What do we got going on here? Main jet, primary jet. We're going to pull them out. We're going to make sure that they're clear. But seeing as how we saw a bunch of rust in this carb because water has found its way in there before we even mess with it, we'll put a couple drops of the good stuff. And as you can see, the good stuff's not really flowing through that primary jet. It's seeping around it. I don't like seeing that. That tells me that jet's probably plugged. A couple drops of the good stuff there. We're going to let that soak in. Give it a couple of minutes to do its thing. Where did I put my rag? I need a wee little straight screwdriver. We're going to need some patience. And we're going to hope that this just turns right out for us. Yep. Good deal. She came right apart. Primary jet. And yeah, if you look closely, come on, camera, focus. Yes, Croyle. Very old can of Croyle. If you look closely down in there, it's somewhat clear, but I see a little shit build up. Like what I could see with my eye is not as good as what the camera could show you. I don't think this is completely plugged, but it was on its way too. No. And I can't see daylight around it. Maybe if I can hold it like this. Where did I put that wee flashlight? If I can hold it like this and kind of cup the light. Okay, that's a plug jet. Definitely a plug jet. And let me go get my magnifying glass because I can't read what size it is. I know the bike ran excellent when it ran. It just puked oil everywhere because the base gaskets were shot. But I was told it ran like a scalded cat. So therefore, I believe it's jetted correctly for the pipes and the air cleaner being used. Therefore, when you buy a rebuild kit for one of these, it'll generally come with 3 different size jets. So if we can't get this one unplugged, we're going to want the same one inside it. These are so handy to have in your shop. Go to a flea market or a dollar store, get you an old magnifying glass like that. And then you can read what size jet you got. Can't quite see it. We're going to do a little trick on this. We'll take a piece of Scotch-Brite. Jet's already plugged. I'm not worried about getting shit in it. I'll take a piece of Scotch-Brite, lay it flat, and just scrub it across like this. That should brighten up the surface just enough, and it'll leave that little bit of dirt and gorp down inside the stampings on this. Yeah, that actually worked pretty good. Now I can read. This is a 68. It's a size 68 Pilot. That's pretty big for a Pilot jet. That's a pretty big Pilot jet. Okay. Yeah, that seems like a lot for an idle jet. put it in perspective, I think I got a 45 in mine, but it's a different carburetor. So all right, let's get the main out. That's small. That's gonna be like a 3/8 or a quarter. Might even be metric. And it ain't 3/8. That's like a quarter. I wouldn't be shocked if it's, yeah, that quarter fits loose. That's a metric. That's very interesting. Let's try an 8. 8's probably too big. I think 8 is the smallest actual wrench I have in metric. Bugger. 7. I got 7 and I got a 6. I'm sure it's not a 7. Or is this a 9? That's a 9. All right, so we gotta treat this one a little differently. Let's go over here. Let's try an actual socket on it. There's a 6. 6 fits perfectly. Okay. A 1/4-inch drive ratchet. These Pittsburgh tools, like the ratchets are half decent. All right. They work. I use them. Okay. I bought these when I didn't have a lot of money, and long story short, I needed tools. I didn't have a lot of money. So I bought these like maybe 12 years ago. The 1/4-inch, I'm not happy with. I haven't used it as much as the 3/8. And the detents here, like it's a cheaply made ratchet, and it feels like it. When you use these a lot, these cheapies, you use them a lot, then you'll understand why folks will spend a little more money and get the Icon or a Snap-on. Like when you see me grab for a 3/8 ratchet, I have a dozen of them, right? Like literally. But when you see me grab for a 3/8, you'll usually see me grab for this. It just feels better in the hand, and the detents are better. And you can tell by this. This is very old. I bought this at a flea market in a toolbox full of tools that I think I paid like 10, 15 bucks, and that was in it. And that's my go-to. I've been using that for a very long time. Okay. Okay. Let's see what size we have here. We have a 160. That's interesting. That's a fat, very fat primary jet with a 160 main. That's interesting. Like I said, put it in perspective. I think I'm running a 45 and a 175 in the CV40 that's in my 883 to 1200 conversion Sportster, the blue one over there. So it's an interesting jetting combo, but apparently it was working. I feel like if anything, this bike, and it kind of makes sense because when I pulled the plugs out, there was a lot of heavy carbon on them. I feel like whoever rebuilt this carb just threw a new jet in it without looking at it, because this is probably too heavy for a primary. From what I could tell, I put a bore scope down in the, and they are what looks like factory Harley-Davidson pistons. So it's not a high compression piston. I couldn't read. Usually they'll stamp 10, 20, 30 over. I couldn't see any of that on there. So from what I could tell, it's a stock size cylinder and piston. I really feel like this should be running more like a 40, a .040 jet, and it has a .068. So this is probably too rich, too fat for this engine, and that would explain why those spark plugs were so carboned up. Being as this bike had drag pipes, it still had a ham can air cleaner. Depending on what kind, do I have the air cleaner? I don't think I have the actual air cleaner element. No, I have the ham can. The cage is missing. I have another cage I'm going to give them because I'll never use it. But if you had a stock paper element with open pipes, this might get it done. It might. But I feel like being as this bike had drag pipes on it, if we were to put an open air cleaner on it, we're going to want to open this up from, what did I just say it was, 160? Yeah, 160. We're going to want to open this up to like a 165, I feel like. I could tell you right now, hopefully the camera will pick it up. I need to put something light colored behind it so you can see it better. Let's see, this white color might show in there better. See that? It's perfectly clear. This jet's good. There's nothing to worry about there. Okay. Now, yeah, this O-ring here is 100% shot. So if this was leaking, which we know it was, you know what? Let me grab that little piece of white plastic again and put it behind it. And maybe you can, it might bring it up better on camera. Now you see that little ring right there. This needle valve is 100% shot. That little ring right there is all it takes to keep that from sealing, okay? They said that gasoline was pouring out of the bottom of the carburetor. That was happening because when this float was floating up and pushing this needle up in the needle seat right here, that wasn't sealing because of that wear ring. It was allowing gas to seep past it. Normally in that situation, when that happens, it's gonna, where's the overflow on this sucker? Over here. In that situation, it's gonna float up to here in the top. This hole right here, the bowl's overfilling, so it's gonna go up to this hole right here, out this hose, and piss all over the place here. This is your overflow hose. But what it was doing was seeping out around the bowl. Okay, the reason that was happening, oh, look right here. I didn't even notice that. All right, that gasket's cracked right there. That's absolutely no good. And I'm going to pull this out and show you. You see how that's flat? That's a no-go. Okay, that tells you in an instant this is 100% shot. Let me get in here with my little pick and remove what's left of this gasket. Now, folks, when I put these together, and I've done this in other videos, and I always tell you, put a little grease down, just regular wheel grease down in here. This is the reason why I tell you to do that. Now, I know for a fact that this thing was maybe 10 years ago, had a rebuild kit done, and I could tell you they didn't take that extra time to do that step. Because you see how I got to work it out of here like this? If you took that little extra step and put that grease in there, this would have basically just, I could have pried it out with just my fingernails. I wouldn't have to work it out with this little pick. Look at that. It's literally disintegrating in my hands. And we used maybe some silicone. That was absolutely not necessary. But here's the important part I wanted to show you by pulling that out. And you look at this from the side. This should be round like an O-ring, and it is not. See how it's from years? It's very brittle and hard, but from years it has been pressed flat. This is not going to seal. It's shot. It's time for a new one. So being as those two things that I just showed you is what caused this carburetor to do what it did. Number one, that little ridge right there was stopping this from sealing and stopping the fuel flow. And number two, this gasket being cracked in several places and being flat instead of round, like a round O-ring. It should look round like that, and you can clearly see how it's been pressed flat over the years. That's what caused this to do what it was doing. I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of this out of here. I'm going to be a little mean to it at that point. We don't have to worry about it staying. All right. Next piece of the puzzle that's got to come out. Of course, these two are buggered pretty good, and this one is sealed, but we can definitely get some coil into these. We're going to take apart the accelerator pump and see what it looks like. So let's pray that the coil will get to it here and put a drop right here. And then on the tops of these, I know it'll get down in there and put a drop of coil on either one. Set it up like that just for a second. I am going to go replenish my coffee. Let that sit for just a minute. Then we're going to explain to you what the accelerator pump does, why you need it. We're going to show you the condition of what's in there. Okay. While that's soaking, we're going to explain what this is. Inside there's a little diaphragm. This rod pushes on that diaphragm, and actually, you see that? That rod's bent, which tells me to put this together. They didn't have the rod down in all the way, and they tightened this up, and it bent this rod. We're going to have to get a pair of pliers and kind of tweak that straight again. What happens, okay? This style of carburetor, when you're riding and you just whack that throttle wide open like that, okay? Whack, boom. It allows the engine to suck a shit ton of air right now. Well, it takes a split second from that air rushing, blowing over top of this. It takes a second for that to draw fuel up from inside here to actually get into the engine. So what you've got right here is an accelerator pump circuit, which would be this little hole right here that lines up. And when you whack the throttle, this little bar is going to get shoved down. When it's shoved down, it shoves on this diaphragm. Underneath here, as you can see, there's a little hole right here that feeds this. Look underneath. You see how the casting goes? There should be two little tiny ball bearings in here. Do not lose them. But when this shoves down, it forces fuel up. Shoot. When it forces it up through that hole into here, you get a little shot of fuel. Psst. So when you crack the throttle, like when you see me start my older Harleys, I'll crack like such. That shoots fuel straight into the Venturi, so that when you whack your throttle like this, you don't have that temporary lean spot. You crack it, boom, like that. You get an instant shot of fuel into the engine. Now, on this particular style of carburetor, this is not adjustable. Not by much, anyway. There should be, no, there is no adjustment screw on that. Now, like on an S&S Super E and Mikuni HSR 42, you can adjust how much this shoves down. You can adjust how much of a squirt of fuel you get. You tune your engine, maybe it wants more, under acceleration. This is why guys pay the extra money for a carburetor like a Super E or a carburetor like a HSR 42. This is perfectly fine for what this engine is. Stock heads, from what I can tell, I haven't torn the engine down yet, but it appears to be stock heads, stock pistons, with just basic stage 1 done. So this would be more than enough. What do we got? Another comment. Great detail inspection. Aloha and mahalo. Right on, man. That's what we are here to do, brother. If you dig this kind of stuff, dude, drop a like and hit the subscribe and notification. This is what I do here. I try to teach people the way I was taught and the way I learned best, how something works, why it needs to work that way. Then you better understand how to work on it. And I really see carburetors as a dying art. Folks act like it's wizardry when you can tune a carburetor and make an engine run good, especially on a motorcycle. And I don't like that folks don't understand. Hey, thanks for the subscribe, dude. Thank you so much. I don't like that. Fuel injection, if you don't understand how a carburetor and an ignition system works together to make the engine run properly, if you don't understand those fundamentals, I don't understand how you can understand fuel injection. You guys sit there with their laptop and tune this and tune that. If you don't know the fundamentals, the old school, you'll never fully grasp the new school way of doing things. So I like to take the time and show people how all that stuff works, which is what we're doing here. All right, let's go ahead and... This is scary because there's 2 teeny tiny little flipping ball bearings in there and you cannot lose them. Okay, one came loose. That came loose. And when you're doing this, if you have this, why would you replace just one screw and put these buggered up ones back in? Why would you do that? I think I have screws this size. I'm going to go ahead and put new screws in for them. But whoever rebuilt this carbon, not naming names, like we just did this quick and dirty. And this motorcycle has, to me, some very special value to it because I knew the owner. He was a good friend, the original owner. And now that he's passed away, it's his family that has the bike. And I want it to its former glory. I want it better than it was when he was riding it. So we're going to take as much time as we can with their budget in mind and make this bike as best as we can possibly make it for them. I'm going to have to dig through my box of carburetor parts here and see if I have what is needed to... I don't think I have another accelerator pump diaphragm, but I'm pretty sure I actually have screws for this. But until they get the rebuild kit to me, which may take another week or two, we're at least going to inspect it and see what we're working with. Okay. Oh boy, she don't want to come apart. Okay, very gently. All right, problem number 2. And I can see right now the diaphragm's in good shape. The check ball is still in place, which is good. But can you see right here? That O-ring is flattened out. That is definitely going to need to be replaced. This O-ring here is also completely flattened out. That is definitely going to need to be replaced. Let me grab a paper towel for this instead of a shop rag. because there's water in here from me cleaning the outside the way I cleaned it. Ever so gently, we in camera, ever so gently, gonna try to lift this out. Because it's been in there for a long time. All right, we got it out without messing anything up. Ooh, look at that. Look at that. This is still serviceable, believe it or not. There's rust on it. This can be cleaned up and reused in a pinch. We're not going to do that. We're going to replace it. Look at that in there. All right, you know what causes this? The modern ethanol in the gasoline. I say it over and over and over again. When modern gasoline with ethanol sits, the ethanol separates from the gasoline. Alcohol attracts water. And this is what's left. This is what you get. Gently pull this little O-ring out. Set it over here. That one doesn't need to come out, but we've got to get this out of here. Okay, that's no bueno. That's no good. That has to go. We have to clean that out. We don't have the kit to rebuild it. Doesn't mean we can't clean it up and get it to the point where basically we're just going to be able to put it back together. When the kit comes in and they get a hold of me, we'll just be able to put her all back together and say la vie, she's good to go. So we got a few things. I don't have very much of this left. I got brake cleaner. Here's another old school trick you can do. Hang it as I drop it on the floor. So as far as carburetor cleaner goes, those little cans can get to be expensive. This stuff right here, this will work for carburetor cleaner. This will work for great carburetor cleaner, actually. And what we have in here is just a little bit of transmission fluid from something I was working on earlier. I forget whether we were adding transmission fluid to something or neither. That's Marvel Mystery Oil. Now I remember what this is from. Go ahead and just get the majority of it out. It ain't got to be perfect because Marvel Mystery Oil is not going to hurt what we're going to do here. I'm going to take a little bit of this stuff here. Just enough to cover them. This old plugged up jet, drop it right in there. This jet, we're going to drop it right in there. We're just going to let this stuff, let it eat, let it do what it does. Since we only used a little tick, I need to find something right here, like that. There we go. And that'll keep those submerged. Let's get just a few drops down in here like this. Let that start eating and do what it does. Look here, I do believe that I have got over here a wee little tiny wire brush. I hope it's still over here. I just seen it the other day. Where did you go, you little devil? Come on, man. You're up in here somewhere. I literally just saw you, dude. Where are you hiding? Oh, you bugger. Is that you? No, that's not you. Here you are. That's a nylon brush, but it'll work. It'll work just fine. This is a wee little nylon brush. We're going to take and dip it in there like so, just so we got some on it. And let's go ahead and just work it around and let it do its thing. agitate it a little. Get all that rust and gorp coated with this stuff. And then we're going to take this, well, that's brake parts. Take a little of the good stuff. We're going to go in the bowl with a little bit of it there. And do the same thing. Any loose cement, stuff like that, we want to. Perfect. Put a little of this in there. Normally you would mix this in your gasoline. It's just a cleaner, dude. It'll do the same thing. You can use this to clean a carburetor. Let me get it over here so it's not, it's going to leak anywhere. It's going to leak on the floor. Look, see how dirty that got? See how much of that stuff up out of there? That is a really good deal. That's what I wanted to see. It's removing all that sediment. There's still some here in the corner. Kind of get it like that. Let me drop this in my drain pan over here. Okay. Now this is where your little pick set comes in handy. If you can see down in that little corner there, there's a little sediment that's still in there. We kind of can scratch at it and get it loose. Like this. Kind of like a dentist would pick at your teeth. We're doing the same thing. Then we're going to go around where the O-ring sits, and we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to kind of scratch at it. There's bits of varnished fuel, possibly some kind of sealer that they may have used. We want this as clean as you could possibly get. Any sediment you want out of there. Okay. Just going to kind of work it around. And you can see all the shit I'm doing here. That, let me just put some cleaner out, magic mystery stuff in my fuel, and it's going to clean my car. No, it's not going to clean your carb, okay? You see how much crap I'm doing to get all the extra bull crap out of here? That stuff that you pour in your gas, I'm sorry, that's not going to do it. That's not going to do the job for you. It's not. Please don't expect to dump some stuff into your fuel tank and have your carburetor come clean, because it's not going to do the job. I promise you it's not. This would be how you drain your bowl. And this gasket's not in too bad a shape. I'd like to see better, but it is somewhat reusable. Once again, it should be a round O-ring and it's flat. This is a little sediment collector, bottom of your bowl. And if you leave stuff in it, you're going to have stuff in your bowl. We don't want that. I'll take just the tiniest little bit. Get her brush in there and work it around. Like so. What's up, Stainless Law? I can't read. Stainless Law Slakowski. Stainless Law Slakowski. What's up, buddy? I'm from Pittsburgh, dude. I can figure out Polish names. I probably pronounced it wrong, but like it's a whole lot of folks here with Polish ancestry in the area where I live. So. Let's take your time. Take your time. Agitate it. Get that magical mystery fluid all in there. Hit it with the air gun real quick. All right. It's not perfect, but there's nothing that's going to come out of there and get up into the carb. That's cleaned up pretty good. We're going to hit it with a little bit of this, I guess, like kind of over here where you can't see it so that it doesn't foul up the work area. I'll just go ahead and take this cloth, paper towel, whatever you want to call it, get in here, get that all out of there. Same with up here. There's marble mister oil on this rag. That'll actually do this some good to wipe this in here. And marble mister oil as well. No one knows what's in it. I don't know. You tell me. It sure to hell to me smells like transmission fluid and acetone. And yeah, that's what marble mister oil is. And you can buy those two things in bulk, and you can get it much cheaper than you can with marble mister oil if you're doing a lot of these, you know, and you want to make money instead of spend money with your shop. You know, that's your concoction to make that go down the road and do what you need. There's still some corrosion in it, but I can live with it. None of it is loose. Let's get a pick and kind of see if we can do this with a pick. There you go. It's like the dentist does for your teeth. Kind of get in there with the pick a little bit and just scratch at that corrosion. And that's about all it's going to take. You can see, sorry if it was off camera, you could kind of see what I'm doing here. Every one of them little tiny pieces, all that fine dust and shit, that's all stuff that could work its way down into the bowl. That's all stuff that could potentially plug a jet and have your bike run like dog poo. Hit it with the air gun once. Look at that. Yeah, it came out pretty good. Still, I'd like to see it a little cleaner. So let's take our little paper towel here. We're going to dip it in this a little bit of cleaner over there and just kind of swab it out like such. I'll be down. Okay, she came out good and clean. Just a little hit of that, like that, and another little touch with the air gun. All right, that is about ready to assemble. I mean, unless you would actually dip this in an ultrasonic, that's not gonna hurt. That's a thin little film. I mean, if I scratch at it with a pick, I will get it loose. But that little bit of particulate is not going to plug anything up. This little bit of stuff in here, this is what you're putting this in your gas, this fuel treatment, this little bit of tinge of color, this will be removed by just putting this in your gas. But the heavier stuff that you saw me scrape out, forget about any fuel treatment to get rid of that. You have to open it up. You have to physically clean it, and that's what you got to do to get that out of there. All right, we got this guy right here. You can't reassemble it like that. So we're going to take our, for now, because the rebuild kit should come with a new one, but until it gets here, we're just doing this to show you. Let's say that the float bowl gasket was good and we were just going to clean it and put it back together. This is how you would want to do this. Really don't want to put carburetor cleaner on this diaphragm. This is a newer one. This is not an original. I could tell you by feeling it. This is made of nylon. The original from 1989 would have 100% been rubber. This is not. This is nylon. Trust me. You could tell by feeling it in your fingers. Okay. The newer style nylon will not get eaten up as badly from the ethanol in the gasoline. As you can see, the ethanol rusted this part. But, all right. Gently place you in place. That side was there, so no, that side was here. Okay. Teeny tiny no good O-ring. We're going to place you back in place so that we don't lose any parts. Match you back up like that. Okay. Now the spring goes in here like that. Now, when you're taking this apart, I kind of did it without showing you guys this. All right, but when you're taking these screws off, it's very important that you keep your thumb right here like this, because that spring will want to bling, throw everything across the room. You don't want that. So I am just going to replace it with these boogered up screws for now, because I'm only going to make it finger tight because it has to come back apart to be rebuilt. Basically, when I put the new seals and everything else in it, whenever the rebuild kit makes its way to my shop, we'll do that. But we have done the hard part. We've actually cleaned everything and inspected everything. So when it comes time for it and the parts get here, all we've got to do, disassemble, put in the new seals, reassemble. And I have to look. I think I have little teeny tiny Allen screws, hex head screws in this size. If I still got them in my parts pile, and it's not the right size screw. If I still have them in my parts pile, I'm going to go ahead and put them in its place here, so that if it ever needs to come apart again, it'll be much easier to do. There we go. Now there's no locating pins on this, so you're basically going to want to get all your screws started, and don't screw yourself and tighten them all down one at a time. Get them all in position and then finger tighten them all, and then you can tighten them to the, they don't have to, you don't got to kill this, you just finger tight's all you need. All right, this seal, we should get a new one with a kit, but since we don't have the kit, see that gorp, don't put it back together like that. Just take 2 seconds, wipe it off. Well, let's do something else. This is soaked with marble mister oil. Let's go ahead and wipe the threads down with that, right? A little lubrication on the threads won't hurt nothing. And this is your float bowl drain. Back in place like that. Okay. All right, the bottom end of the carburetor, she's looked after. She's good. We know we need this gasket. We're not even going to bother putting this back in. That's this Garbaggio. We don't use it. No, it's done. Now, our float. That's poo. That's all poo. That has to get cleaned. But we don't know if this is a good float or not, do we? For all we know, this thing's got a pinhole. Well, how do you test that theory? I'm going to show you. Need yourself a little container of some sort. I think I got a bucket over here somewhere. Let me grab it. Gonna need a container of water. I'm going to use this whole bucket here. Put some water in this bucket. Not a lot, but you need enough to completely submerge that carburetor float. Can you see inside this bucket? Let's see. Maybe I can move it closer to the camera so you can see more better what I am doing. You see in there now? Okay. What you're going to do is you're going to take this guy here. You're going to drown him. Okay, it floats. That's what it's supposed to do, right? How do I do this where you can see it? Over here in the corner. You're going to drown him. You're going to hold him underwater and you're going to wait. And wait. No air bubbles are coming up. No air bubbles at all. And that's what I want to see. Because if this was compromised in any way, water would get in and air would come out. The inside of this is airtight. Good. Take it out of here. We're going to show you something else with this. Go ahead and dry it off. Actually, here, let's do it the lazy man way. Okay. Now, we had it submerged. You can take it and shake it next to your ear. Or shake it next to the mic. You don't hear anything. If any liquid found its way in there, when you shook it, you would hear it. There's two ways to tell whether your float can be reused or whether it was compromised. This one is 100% fine. I don't know if the rebuild kit that was ordered will have a new float or not. Go ahead. Dip my paper towel back into the Magic Mystery cleaning solution. And we're just going to wipe this down because there was sediment on it. And just take the time to kind of just clean it up, wipe it all down. Any sediment that's on it, you're going to want to get that off of there. Because it can work its way up into the jets and plug them, and we just do not want that, do we? Because this is plastic, I am not going to spray this with that aerosol carburetor cleaner. I'm sure it won't hurt anything, but here's the deal, folks. That stuff is pretty harsh. Nylon, plastic, rubber. Like, I have seen people destroy diaphragms in CV carbs by spraying that stuff on it. So I would rather just take, just the Berryman's fuel treatment and use that as opposed to the aerosol carburetor cleaner. Because that will dissolve that sediment. And you take a clean paper towel here. Yeah, ultrasonic cleaner would be absolutely the way to go, man. But not everybody has one, so I'm like to do videos like this to show you the old school ways before those were around, you know, and folks how to do this basically in their living room if they got to, you know, the way I used to do it way back in the day. That's why I take the time to do this and make these videos. But absolutely take all the parts and dunk them in an ultrasonic. That'd be the way to go to do this and get her done good. All right. Visually inspecting in here, there's no schmutz deep down in there. And if you look down in here into the needle seat, it looks good. There's no schmutz deep down in there. And we know this needle's no good. We showed that earlier. You can see that ridge. This needle is no good, but we're not going to put the carburetor back together and not include this piece. And we're just going to take a rag, a paper towel that was soaked in cleaner. It's going to kind of go like this and clean that down, get that varnished fuel off of there. And if this seat was in good shape, we could just clean it like this and put it right back in. But, you know, that's no good. That's 100% going to leak instantly. So, like I showed you earlier, the spring on this is a bugger. So, pop it off like that. Shit. Needle nose are slightly bent. That's not going to work for me, is it? There, we got that in place. And then we'll go ahead and clip the needle back into the spring where it needs to go. It's hung. I don't like this setup, but that's what you got. We'll drop it back into its little home. Take our pin. Kind of work it back in place where it needs to go. Get back in that hole, you little devil. And of course, that did that, didn't it? All right. Sometimes it's frustrating. Pop that off. Get that over where it needs to go. There you go. All right. No one said it would be easy. You can tell when something's a little frustrating because my narration goes away. Like instantly. We actually need to give that a little teeny squeeze. Tighten it up a little. Come on, you booger, get in there. Well, that's frustrating. So anyways, we do this 10 times until we get it in there. I didn't tell you this was easy to do. Never said that. But nothing worth doing is ever easy. Yeah, we need to give this spring just a little attitude adjustment like that. There we go. Get that drop back in its place. Kind of use a little pick to guide it. There you go. Right down in the hole, like such. And where is my bit? We are only going to do this finger tight because I will 100% take this all back apart when the kit comes. And we'll do it properly. But for now, finger tight's all it gets. We are not going to replace this gasket. We don't have the gasket to put on it, but we are going to do the rust on this rod. Yeah, we can't have that. Okay, that's not gonna do what we need. So we got this soaked in cleaner and everything else. Put just a little bit more on it like that. Gonna wipe it down. Just get it wet with the cleaner. Take a little bit of Scotch-Brite like this and just kind of work it like that a little. There we go. Way better. Set that off to the side. Our jets have been soaking. As you can see, there's a little bit of schmutz in the cleaning solution, which is good. That's what I want to see. Let's go ahead and have the camera turn so you can see what I'm doing. Just over here and give it a little blast. Take the air hose, grip this very tightly so I don't shoot it across the room. Hey, look. There's your ultrasonic cleaner. Whenever my compressor kicks on, it does it for me. That's pretty cool, dang it. That's what you call a ghetto ultrasonic cleaner, huh? We're taking. Yep, that's clear now. Yeah, it's a ghetto ultrasonic cleaner. All right, that little bit of soak like that. If you can see through here, I can see it. You have to take my word for it. But I can see right through all these little teeny tiny holes. This jet's reopened. It's good now. And all we did was, that's just the Berryman's carburetor cleaner. We just soaked them in there for right about an hour while we were working here. And as you've seen, when the compressor kicks on, that does your ultrasonic thing there. That's that's actually cool as shit. All right. Enough jaw jacking. Where did the teeny screwdriver go? Okay. drop you back into place. All that. Please, folks, for the love of God, do not over tighten these. Like when the screwdriver stops, you're done. That's all the more you have to do. Sorry, I know you can only see my hands, but right there, the screwdriver stop. That's it. That's done. It's tight. It's over. Stop. Don't go further than that. You're just going to make my life miserable when you bring your carburetor to me. Get that out of here. Take it off over here and give it a little that. And we're going to give her a little blast with. And this one, y'all can definitely see daylight through. This one's, you know, it's much larger. Obviously, this is the main. Go ahead and get him restarted. And the same with that. Look, I'm putting a ratchet on it, but basically you're just, the brass threads, you just see just 2 fingers. Boop, like that. Boop, 2 little fingers. That's all the tighter you need to make that. Please don't go more. You're only going to make your life more miserable if you take it apart again, or my life when you bring it to me and say, fix it for me, Kev. Oh. All right, that goes in here. We don't have a gasket. We're going to pretend like we do. Go ahead and put this back together. Okay, this little rod needs to go. See that hole right there? That needs to go in there like that. So when you put your stuff back together here, see, you kind of got to take your thumb like that and just guide that into that hole carefully. Okay, you can see it was bent because somebody was a little lackadaisical and they didn't guide it into the hole. And I promise you, when someone cracked the throttle, it hit here and bent out. We didn't bother straightening it. It's still going to do what it needs to do. Okay, good to go. We can now replace our bottom screws. Once again, only making them finger tight because this will have to come back apart whenever the customer gets me the rebuild kit. But basically, it's going to come apart, new seals put in it. It'll only take 10 minutes to do because we've torn it apart, we've inspected it, searched for problems. We found them. We corrected most of them. But mainly all this carburetor needs to function properly at this point would be a new needle valve. That's that little rubber piece I showed you. And a new base seal. But I honestly think that the primary jet in here is way too big for the application. I really feel like that's the wrong size. It's a number 68. And like I said, my bike that is 883 with an SNS 1200 kit, it's got higher compression. It's set up for an open air cleaner, stage 1, whatever you want to call it, and it's only running a 45. Now, the main jet in this carburetor was a 160. For a stock engine, that's almost on the lean side, unless you got a choked up air cleaner. But, all right, check it out. Look at how carboned up these guys are. This is the spark plugs that come out of this bike. They're very, very carboned up. All right, and that would be indicative of it running rich. I'm not sure why it has such a oversized main jet. It does. It absolutely, that's what it had. It's definitely not right for the machine. we're going to go over that when we get it all put back together. I don't care if I can tear this thing down 3 times. Like I said, this one's personal to me. We're going to make sure it's tuned right before it leaves my shop. All right, the next thing, your enriching circuit needs to go back in. And that's going to be just to keep dirt and stuff out. Just kind of got to wiggle it a little like that. And it is spring loaded. You just gently thread it in like such. That should be maybe a little bigger than a 1/2 inch, but not by much. Maybe a 9/16. We'll grab a 1/2 and a 9/16. That's 9/16. And these are plastic threads. Do not kill it. See, I'm barely holding the wrench like that. Just my fingertips, barely put any pressure. That's how you want to do this stuff. Like, folks got on me because I use a wrench when I install a oil filter. Well, if you look on my wrist right here, all right, it's been surgically rebuilt. I shattered this wrist. I don't have good grip strength like that. It's not possible the way my wrist is put back together. I don't have full motion. So I got to use leverage. I got to use a wrench. But when you see me do that, pay attention. See that? I'm barely holding the wrench. Just my fingertips like that. So that's all you need. Very little pressure. Choke down. Yep. Choke functions. It locks into position. Unlocks. Okay. Your enriching circuit is back into position. We've gotten most of the corrosion off of here. I'm not really worried about this too much. Whatever came off, came off. We're not going to completely take that down. But now here is the instructional part of this. At the very end, at an hour and 45 minutes in for the handful of you who are watching, this is the old style. Okay, and I told you when they brought this carburetor to me at a glance, I said, shit, that's a Super E. Well, obviously it's not. It's a Kian. The Super E by S&S. Look here. See, Screaming Eagle. Well, Harley subbed it out to Kian to make him a carb. And basically what Kian did is they cloned a S&S Super E. Call it what you want. That's what they did. After 1989, this is what you would see on a Harley. All your Evos had this. This is a Chinese clone of a CV40 40 millimeter constant velocity carburetor by Kian. And you can see right now, bigger Venturi. It's going to run a lot better with this carb. The way this style works, same deal, butterfly valve back here. You whack your throttle like such. The engine pulls vacuum, and the vacuum opens the slide. Which is the same deal. There's your jets. As the vacuum opens the slide, more air comes through, yada, yada, yada. You know how all that works if you're watching a carburetor video. It does have an accelerator pump right here, and it's the same setup. See how it's cast in here, transfers over to here. When you whack your throttle like this, see, it's pushing that little rod down like there, right in there. That's working that pump, and that's shooting fuel up in. Non-adjustable, but you can adjust it. Okay, you have to find a little teeny tiny flat washer, and you could change the washers to give you just a teeny bit more. It is more trouble than it's worth. Pilot screw right there, whereas on this carburetor, the pilot screw is going to be right here. It's a slightly different setup, but does the same thing. This would be much easier to adjust the idle mixture on the motorcycle because you can reach right here Okay, this is the top. You could reach right back in here and adjust it where, you know, when you're adjusting the pilot mixture on this, as you can see, this side is the engine side. So all the way back behind here, you're going to have to reach up and under with a screwdriver. You're not going to do that on the motorcycle, but you can. And there's a product that I got tagged in here that you can buy from the link. And that's this guy right here, this tool. That's what this is for. When this is on the bike, you can get this. It's basically just a screwdriver. There's a cable up through there. And as you see, I'm going to turn this here as you see. So you would, with the bike running, you can reach underneath, kind of get that guided in by feel, and you can adjust your idle mixture there. These, they're not expensive. They're like 20 bucks. If you're going to mess with a carburetor, do yourself a favor, buy one. If you're going to mess with a carbureted Harley that has a stock key and CV carb, buy one of these tools. You will thank me later. But the quote-unquote Screaming Eagle carb, as this would be, or S&S Super E, it's right up here on the top, and I'm going to show you something in a second. You see right up here in the top, your idle mixture. This Harley over here has an S&S Super E on it. See right there? Right up top. Idle mixture screw right there. I'm touching it. See it? Idle mixture screw. And over here, you can't quite see it, but over here, there's an adjustment screw for the accelerator pump, whether you want more of a shot of fuel or less of a shot of fuel. And you can kind of tune that by warming your bike up. They have a base setting, ride the bike, warm it up real good. And while you're sitting there in the garage, you tune it back and forth until you get your idle mixture right where you want it. Hey, what's up? Yeah, we're doing good. Crystal's Crime Conversations. We're just we're teaching folks the difference between Harley-Davidson carburetors, how to inspect them, what goes wrong with them, and how to fix them when they get goofed up. I'm waiting for the customer to bring me the gasket kit and the other parts for this so that I can get it all bolted back together and on the bike. So anyways, that's your carburetor 101, man. Ah, cool. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's your carburetor 101. These things, they're so much simpler than folks think they are. They act like, you know, you have to be some kind of wizard to understand how a carburetor works on a motorcycle. And, you know, they feel like you're better off with fuel injection. I could tell you you're not. If you know what you're doing with a carburetor, you're fine. The only difference is, you know, you're going to have to warm your engine up a little bit before you ride, which if you're messing with a push rod engine, the cylinders are removed from the engine, right? So everything's bolted down. You have a gasket at the base of the cylinder block and a gasket at the top. You should be warming that engine up before you run it hard. You should. Simply because as that cylinder heats up, it's going to expand. That pressure from it expanding is going to seal that top and bottom gasket to last 10 times longer. You should be warming up your engine. A fuel injected Harley, you could just fire it up and go. Bah! Beat on it. Good, I don't care. Blow your base gaskets out, then bring them to me and pay me to replace them. I'm cool with that. But if the carburetor's tuned right, unless you're firing your bike up on like a 20-degree day, you only need, you know, warm days in the summer, a minute and 30 seconds, 2 minutes, 30 seconds, and my Sportster's completely warmed up, ready to ride. Because I'm running higher compression in factory, I need to warm it up a little better because there's more pressure in that cylinder. It's much more important to warm it up and have them gaskets properly sealed before you actually. It's one thing to putt it and barely be on the gas, but before you actually get out there and crank on it, you know, cranking your hog, before you actually get out there and crank on it, it's important to warm it up. I'm going to go ahead and put all my stuff away here, finish this up. So even with a fuel injected bike, you still should be warming your bike up. You should. It's just proper. So to me, I would prefer having a carbureted bike as opposed to a fuel injected bike. At some point in the line, I may convert that electric glide over there to carburetor. It's a process. It's expensive. A lot of folks think, why would you do that? Because I like carbureted engines. I know what I'm doing with a carburetor. It's a dying art, and I hate to see that, but it's true. It's a dying art. I would just prefer, for the ease of tuning the machine, would 100% prefer it to be carbureted. I don't want a phone app to tune my bike. I want to do it the way it's always been done. Ears, nose, brain, eyes. Look at the spark plugs. Hear how the engine's running. Listen to it. Smell the exhaust. You know what you're doing. You could smell an engine that's running too rich from 2 blocks away. It's not complicated. Once you learn the principles of it and you do it a few times, you'll know how to do it for the rest of your life. And that is what I'm here to do, is to teach folks how to do stuff like that. Especially the year cats that are just getting into bikes now, because even with a fuel injected bike, if you know these basics, it's going to help you greatly in tuning your bike. Or, you know, you can pay somebody all kind of money to put the bike on a dyno and hook it up to sensors and whatever. But if you know what's going on with the machine, you'll know whether you need more timing, less timing, a richer idle circuit, etc., etc. It's a dying art. It's a lost skill. And if I am one of the few people who brings that back around and could teach this younger generation of riders this kind of stuff that was taught to me when I was a little kid by old grizzled bikers with a gray beard, then I feel like I've done something with my life. You know what I mean? Big thanks to Super Clean sending me some products and some merch. Appreciate you guys for that. I use your stuff, dude. It works good. I was using a different product, and I'm going to be honest with you, the Super Clean works better than that product. And if it didn't, I'd be the first one to tell you, hey, this stuff sucks. It doesn't. I like it. It works very well for what I'm using it for, and that's great. So shout out to Super Clean. Thanks for hooking a dude up. It's Sunday, so we're not in as much of a hurry. We actually take the time to clean the shop up a little. Alrighty, and I think that's about the end of it for the day. We got a trip to make, pick up some groceries and whatnot, I think, and some cleaning supplies for the house. Plus, I am almost out of PB Blaster. I need to pick some of that up, and I'm almost out of brake clean. I'll pick some of that up too. Finished the last of my coffee. I got to get a better coffee cup for down here, man. I'm going to have to pick one up today. I'm using the same, like this belonged to my grandma, and it's probably from the 60s. It's probably something, to be honest with you, it's probably something she made from the 60s. I keep it down here because I don't get yelled at making the good coffee cups. And we got a little carburetor cleaner in here. It is somewhat flammable. We're going to go ahead and put that where it needs to go in a safe container. just because it is flammable. It's a rare occasion I'm actually cleaning up my workspace in the shop. All right, man. We're going to end this live here. It's been 2 hours. Thanks a million for tuning in, taking the time to hang out with me in the garage and learn about motorcycles. We'll catch you guys on the flip side. I believe next weekend we're probably not going to be doing live. Didn't go live Saturday, as if y'all read the post and saw the short, it was my father's birthday. And I picked up an extra shift at work to help out my coworker who needed the day off. I don't like working Saturday. Buddy needed the day off. He had something he had to do, so I took his shift and made a few extra dollars. Was home early, home by noon. But at the same time, the rest of the day I went and spent with my dad for his, what is it now? He's born in 58, it's 2026, it was his 68th birthday. Am I doing the math right? Yeah. 68th birthday. So it was important to me. YouTube's a big part of my life. I appreciate y'all tuning in and learning from me and that, but it's important to spend time with my dad instead of making a live video. So that's what we did. Next weekend, I don't know, man. I think Sunday. Hopefully it'll be coming Sunday. If not, it'll be sometime in the week. We got a special treat for y'all. If you follow me long enough and follow my Facebook, you'll remember the tan Goldwing that I used to own. I called it the Big Brown Beaver, Winona. 90s kid, right? Primus was the shit. But yeah, we called that bike Winona. I sold it to someone. The kid rode it and enjoyed it. He sold it to another kid. And from what I could tell, the other kid started messing with the carburetors. Didn't get him right. And, well, he sold it. Just what he did. One of my very first customers when we moved here was looking for a bigger bike. And sure as I'll get out, I'm cruising Marketplace, and lo and behold, what do I see? I see my old Goldwing Winona for sale, and it's cheap. It was run well enough for the guy to ride it almost an hour home to his house. And the gentleman works 2 jobs. He's a busy man. But he watched my videos on the bike. He watched Shade Tree Surgeon's Goldwing videos. He was enamored with the Goldwing platform. And I told him, buddy, if you want an old Goldwing, this one here, this is the one you're going to want, man. Hey, no problem, man. Thanks for tuning in and the sub. I appreciate it. I told him, I said, if you want an old Goldwing, dude, I went through this bike with a fine-tooth comb. I fixed all the typical Goldwing bullshit that goes wrong with them, because they kind of all do the same thing. I went through it and I fixed all that stuff up. I rode it for a summer, and I ended up upgrading. It was a 1984 Aspencade Goldwing. I upgraded to a 1988 Goldwing Interstate for a reason. The 1500 Goldwing had reverse every year. As they made the 1500 from 1988 to 2001, maybe something like that. And every year of them had reverse. And if you know me, you'll know my left knee is pretty much totally shot. And that Goldwing, it is a big bear of a bike to maneuver in a parking lot. And I was having problems getting it backed into parking spots, the 1200 models, because I've owned a few of them over the years. And when my left knee was in better shape, it wasn't a problem. But now it's on the side. It sits lower. It's physically lighter than a Goldwing. I know. Goldwing people get mad at me for saying this. I like the Electric Glide better than the Goldwing. I don't need the reverse gear on the Electric Glide. I needed it on the Goldwing, so I upgraded to the 1500. I sold the 1200, And long story short, my buddy's got it. It starts and runs, but it's got some quirks and issues. It is what it is. He's going to bring it here. We're going to get her sorted probably in between this Sportster, because I have to wait on the folks to bring me the parts. So, all right, we're at the 2-hour mark. I got to cut out. I will see you guys later. Thanks a million, man. If you like what I'm doing, like and subscribe.